Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video I will be unboxing the latest phone from Realme, that's the Realme X. Now this phone is launched in two variants. Base variant is priced at 17,000 rupees for 4GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, and that's the one we have, and that too in the blue color, the same that we have seen over here. And the next variant is priced at 20,000 rupees for 8GB of RAM and the same 128GB of storage. So that's a huge jump from 4 to 8GB for just 3,000 rupees. So I have been really excited about this phone, and I think this is a pretty good alternative for the Redmi K20. So let's unbox it and see how good this phone gonna be. So let's get started. So guys, here's the box, and on the front it says Realme X pop-up generation, and we also have a quick preview of how the phone looks on the front and back. Now in terms of box sizes, I'm really happy with it. Usually we spend thousands of rupees, but usually box sizes are pretty small, but this is pretty huge. I know it doesn't make any sense, but this is a quick comparison with the box size of the Asus Zenfone 6. This one is still bigger. So personally, as I said, I just love big boxes, and it is pretty big. Anyway, coming back to the box, on the left side and right side we have the phone's name, that's the Realme X, and on the back we have the regular specifications, IMEI numbers related to the company and the phone itself. So let's unbox it. By the way guys, I have the blue color and it should look pretty interesting. Now that's gone. Now let's unbox it. So guys, once we open the box, we have a cardboard box at the top. It says, "Hey, welcome to the Realme family." That's pretty cool. And inside it we have a SIM card ejector, some documentation, and a pretty good looking case. I'll come back to it in a minute, so let me just put that aside. Next we have the phone itself. Let me just put that aside as well. Following that is a 20-watt VOOC charger. This is VOOC Fast Charging 3.0. That's the latest generation with a maximum output of 20 watts, which is the same as OnePlus phones. And finally, we have a USB Type-C charging cable with yellow accent colors, which looks pretty good. So guys, these are all the contents of the box. As usual, there are no earphones. So let me just put all these things aside and come back to the phone. So here's the phone in the plastic wrapping. On the front, we have an indicator for the in-display fingerprint scanner, which is one of its highlighting features. And on the back, we have the SIM card information. And this time you get just two SIM card slots. There is no dedicated SD card slot. And you also have the IMEI number stickers. So let me just remove all of that and remove even this as well. That sounded great. So guys, this is how the phone looks on the back without any stickers whatsoever. And this is how the phone looks on the front. Now let's check out this case. So that's the case, and it's an easy slip-on case. It's not so easy. I take that back. So guys, this is how the phone looks with the case on. This is the free case that we get, and on the back it has a pretty hard shell with a transparent back. It is tinted a bit. And for the sides it has a rubberized texture which is slightly softer and still pretty strong. Now on the back it has a slightly raised lip, so it is protecting the camera module very well. So even when you place your phone directly on its back, rear camera is still very well protected. Now even on the front it has a pretty big raised lip for the display, and even the corners are very well protected. So even when you place your phone directly on its face, display won't be in contact with the surface, so display is still very well protected. Now it has all the cutouts. It even has the small flap for some water protection. That's pretty cool. And finally, even with this case on, buttons are still pretty clickable, so that's pretty good. So guys, this is definitely a pretty good case for a pretty awesome phone. So guys, now let's have a quick physical overview and then check out the complete specifications of this phone. On the back, this phone has a 3D curved fiberglass with a pretty interesting design going on the back. I have the space blue color, and it definitely looks pretty cool and pretty interesting. At the center, we have the camera module with a dual camera setup and a single LED flash, and that's followed by Realme branding at the bottom. Now on the front, you get a pretty massive AMOLED display protected by 2.5D curved Corning Gorilla Glass 5 for additional protection, and even that is protected by a free screen guard pre-applied. Now about the display, bezel is pretty small and you get a pretty big earpiece. At least the cutout is pretty big, and below the display it's completely plain with a slightly larger chin, at least when compared to the top. Now for the sides, on the right side you get the power button with the yellow accent colors and a SIM card tray housing two nano SIM slots. On the left side you have just the volume rockers. Now these buttons seems to be made of metal. They have a nice clicky feel to them. I just wish they were a bit more elevated. Now at the top we have a secondary microphone for noise cancellation and that pop-up selfie camera. Now finally at the bottom we have the 3.5mm audio jack, primary microphone, USB Type-C charging port, and the mono speaker. So guys, that was the physical overview. Now let's check out the complete specifications. This phone sports a 6.53-inch Super AMOLED display with Full HD Plus resolution with 19.5:9 aspect ratio. It has 430 nits of brightness and 91.2% screen-to-body ratio. For cameras, it has a 48 megapixel primary camera with Sony IMX586 sensor with f1.7 aperture and a 5 megapixel secondary camera with f2.4 aperture for taking portrait shots. For selfies, inside that pop-up module, you get a 16 megapixel camera with Sony IMX471 sensor with f2.0 aperture. Under the hood, this phone sports a Snapdragon 710 processor with Adreno 616 GPU with 4GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 128GB of UFS 2.1 storage. It will be running ColorOS 6 based on Android Pie, that's 9.0, and it even has a decently large 3765 mAh battery. It supports fast charging and comes with Whoop fast charger inside the box, and according to Realme, it can get charged completely from 0 to 100% in 78 minutes. Now for the rest of the specs, this phone supports dual SIM with dual 4G and dual VoLTE. It even has Bluetooth 5.0 and some extra codecs for the best music experience on a wireless headset. Now there are two main highlights for this phone. One would be that in-display fingerprint scanner, which we'll look in a minute, and the next thing would be the pop-up selfie camera. Now this pop-up mechanism or the motor itself has an ultra-long life of 200,000 cycles. Even the front camera is protected by a sapphire glass to prevent scratches. So this pop-up camera is very well designed, and in fact it's pretty good as it pops out in just 0.74 seconds, which is way faster than Redmi K20 and the K20 Pro. Anyway guys, let me just turn on the phone and set it up and come back to you in a second. So guys, this is how the phone looks once we turn it on. This is your default launcher, and that's the wallpaper that comes pre-installed. And these are some apps on your home screen. Now if you do a swipe up gesture, you can go to your app drawer, and these are all the applications that come pre-installed on your phone. There is definitely quite a bit of bloatware, and I would definitely recommend you to uninstall any of these applications that you do not use. Now with that said, right out of the box, out of that 4GB of RAM, you get about 1.57GB of RAM free. So that's pretty good enough. Now let's check out the storage section. Now for storage, out of that 128GB of space, you get about 1.5GB of space for your user apps and user data, which is definitely more than sufficient. Now let's check out the about page. Now this is the about page, and this phone is running ColorOS version 6.0 based on Android 9.0, that's Android Pie, with the June security patch. So that's pretty cool as well. Now let's check out the camera interface. So this is the camera interface for the rear camera, and you also get a button over here for 2x digital zoom. This phone has a dual camera setup. This is the primary camera, which is used to take pictures, and this is a secondary camera which is just used to take portrait shots for depth sensing. And so this 2x button over here is for digital zoom, so it's just like doing a pinch to zoom gesture, but a quick shortcut for that. Now for the rest of the modes, on the right side you have the portrait mode, and on the left side we have video recording. We can record video in 4K resolution, but only at 30 fps. In 1080p we can record video in 30 fps and 60 fps. Now if we go to more settings, we have Nightscape. It's a dedicated mode to take better pictures in low lighting conditions. Next we have Panorama Expert mode, that's Pro mode. Next we have Time Lapse and Slow Motion. Now on this mode we can record video in slow motion even at 960 fps. That's also one of the highlighting features of this phone. Now let's check out the front camera. And that's the front camera, and as you have seen, every time the front camera pops up, you get a nice animation no matter where you are or what you're doing. And it also makes that annoying little sound. So here's that sound once again in a close-up. So the noise it makes is pretty audible, and this is probably second to Redmi K20 and the K20 Pro. Anyway, for the front camera, here's the preview and initial impressions. It is pretty good. Like even in this harsh lighting conditions, exposure control is pretty good, so you can get some pretty good selfies. I'll show you sample shots later. Next we have portrait mode for the front camera, that's portrait selfies. For video recording, we can record video in 1080p resolution. And for more settings, we have panorama, that's wide angle selfie. So just take a picture and twist your phone to get a wider selfie. So this is the wider selfie. So guys, that's the camera interface, and these are some sample pictures. So guys, now let's test the speaker loudness.
Burning bridges to the ground. So take away what's left of me, of which we cross. We cross. Machine, racing queen. I'll take you wherever you wanna go. Slow us down with the speed of sound. Tonight we all know. Train machine, racing queen. You make my heart beat.
So guys, speaker loudness on this phone is pretty good. It just has a single speaker, but it sounds pretty loud and it's great for media consumption, ringtones and alarms. And if you have just seen while watching videos, we can do a swipe gesture from the left side for smart bar. So this is the smart bar and we have quick access to some applications. These are called quick applications, and over here these are quick actions. We can do stuff like taking a screenshot. We can also record the screen. We can launch applications quickly from here, and even camera application. So that's pretty cool. Now, while you're using the phone in landscape mode, while watching videos or playing games, you can swipe from the left side. But while using your phone in a portrait mode, you have a bar over here. You can swipe over it to bring out the smart bar. Now to add or edit this list, you can either click this plus button, or else you can long press on any of these applications and you get extra options. If you want to add any application, you can just add it from here. And if you want to remove them, you can just do that. And now it's done. Personally, I'm really not a fan of this particular feature. Now this phone also has a new feature, something like always on display. So to enable it, go to settings, then select display settings, then select off screen clock. Now once you enable it, you can see clock always on the screen. I'm not sure if it can display notifications or not, but it can display time, date and battery percentage, which is sufficient right now. Now let's test the fingerprint scanner. I've already set it up and here we go. So guys, fingerprint scanner on this phone is super fast, like definitely faster than the K20 Pro, and it can be comparable with phones like Oppo Reno and the OnePlus 7 Pro. So that's really insane, and for a phone that just costs about 17,000 rupees, that's really awesome. Like the fingerprint scanner on this phone is faster than all the Samsung phones up to Samsung A70, and it is definitely faster than the Redmi K20 and the K20 Pro. So that's really amazing. Now let's test face unlock. Once again, I've already set it up. So here we go. As you have seen, face unlock is also super fast. It just takes like a split second or less than a second. Now let's have a quick comparison with Redmi K20. On the left side, I have the Realme X, and on the right side, I have the K20. So 3, 2, 1. On K20, we need to swipe up for it to work. And let's try that as well. So now the display on K20 is already on. Now I'll press the power button on Realme X and then just do a swipe up gesture. So 3, 2, 1. As you have just seen, face unlock feature on Realme X is insanely fast. I really love it. Now before I conclude, these are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. So guys, this is the Realme X. It definitely lived up to my expectations, and the fingerprint scanner and face unlock are noticeably faster than the K20, at least in my experience. Especially the pop-up camera is insanely faster than the K20 and the K20 Pro. So for the pricing, this is definitely a killer deal, and I wish they would have upgraded the processor as well. Snapdragon 710 is still a pretty good processor, but something like a Snapdragon 712 or like the Snapdragon 730 seen in the K20 would have been awesome. But still, this is pretty great, and if you're looking for a phone under 20,000 rupees with all the things this phone has to offer, that's the walk charging, full screen display, AMOLED display, pop-up camera, and pretty good cameras, I can definitely recommend you this phone. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let us know by commenting below this video, and if you are planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, or if you have any questions about this phone, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter, and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.